So welcome to today's webinar. It is, I think, maybe our third or fourth now that we're now sharing webinars, which is really cool to see so much interest and how much you can learn about Homhero, even if you've been using it for quite a while or if you're a newbie. So today, all about your correspondence. Complete guide to correspondence. They can really impact your operations. So I'm excited to share how you can streamline and professionalize your communications. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Tashana. I've been with Homhero training and support team for almost 3 years now. So I'll take you through as much as I can about correspondence within about 45 minutes. I will leave some time at the end for questions as well. So feel free to drop your questions as we go. I'll try to answer as many as I can at the end of the session. But if I don't get to them at that time, I'll try to reach you afterwards. You'll notice that you can submit those anonymously, but obviously I can't reach you afterwards if you do submit them anonymously. There was a few last time I couldn't get to. I won't call you out by name either way if you do drop them in with your name. So feel free to drop it in, and that way if I don't answer, I can reach you afterwards. So today we're looking at your different correspondence methods available within Homhero. How to add, your branding and your formatting to your emails. How to really personalize and customize everything with your merge fields and even custom fields. Creating templates, so those are ones that you can use manually, resend them to multiple reservations wherever needed, as well as maybe even printing those out depending on your needs. We do also have some built-in notifications that you can use. Otherwise, we'll look at how to create scheduled correspondence, right from scratch, whatever you need. This is really the key to automate everything, depending on what you need to send out. Once we understand who we can send it to, how we can personalize everything, we'll put that all together at the end. So today's session is going to be in our demo account, which is very similar to your own account you might have seen on our previous webinars. The only difference is that we have got our unified inbox enabled on our account. So this is a new feature that's been released recently. You might not have this in your account. You might still have our original inbox. I'm not going to dive into any unified inbox features today. So if you do want to learn more about that, I would recommend checking out our previous webinar. We do have that available on our website. And we also have pre-recorded videos in case you just want to watch a snippet about little bits and pieces. Those are on our knowledge base. Even if you are on that original inbox, all of our topics today are still going to apply. It's not like there's stuff in here that's only for unified inbox. You can use everything in here either way. So whether you are a guru of Homhero or a newbie, I hope that I'll have something new for you today. Like we mentioned in the newsletter, your correspondence might be suffering from a case of set and forget. You might have joined Homhero a while ago, set up whatever communication you needed at the time, and then not gone back to improve it or double check that everything's working well. So even if you have been with us for a while, please take a look and hopefully we'll be able to improve what you're doing at the moment. Cool. So types of correspondence. First, let's look at those. You probably already know, obviously, you can send out emails, SMS. You might not know that you can send all of your OTA messaging from Homhero as well. A while ago, Airbnb stopped providing those email addresses. And so we obviously now are able to send out Airbnb messages to your guests instead. You don't have to open up your Airbnb extranet and do it from there. You can send these out from Homhero. As well as your booking.com and VRBO messaging as well. That it's all in Homhero, it's all called OTA messaging, and it will go out to those platforms. It's a really good idea to use that whenever possible so that your OTA support team can also view your thread with your guest, especially in the case of things like disputes. If your guest goes to Airbnb and says that they didn't receive the arrival instructions for the property, as long as you've sent it via OTA messaging, then the Airbnb support team can see that you did actually send that. If you're sending it outside of those platforms, they don't have that visibility. So this is really helpful to send as much as you can through their platforms. So those are your types. But correspondence is not just for your guests. Obviously, you guys deal with a lot of different people in your day. You've got your property owners, you've got your cleaners, your contractors or third parties, as well as your staff. So your correspondence in Home Hero can be used for that as well. And we'll take a look at how you can send those manually, how you can send them an existing template, or automate your messages with a schedule instead. Cool. Before we jump into actually sending anything, I want to take a look at your formatting of your emails, your branding. I'll jump out of here and into Home Hero instead. There we go. You might already have an email footer or a signature applied. If you do want to have a look at that, it will be under your settings in Home Hero. So again, I'm in our demo account here, but it should look the same as yours. If you go into your settings and then your email footer, you might have something in here that's applying to the bottom of all of your emails that you send out. This is an account level, like company level signature. So don't put your own name in here if you are going to check it, because everyone that sends out emails from Home Hero will use this signature, okay? This is great. Email signatures can look really nice if you've got one set up, but I want to take it one step further for you. We can create an email theme which wraps around your entire email and makes it feel really polished. It goes a long way towards building your brand identity, to have your logo and your colors to be the first thing that your recipients see on every email, okay? They receive something, right at the top, it's got Home Hero. So we'll have a look at those under correspondence and then email themes. I've got one set up in our account called Home Hero Theme. So if I open that one up, we can see in here at the top, it's got our logo and our lovely teal color here. This is our brand colors. Underneath that, it says body HTML. This is where our actual email content will go. So when we are sending out an email that says, "Dear guest, thank you for your booking," it's going to go in here under our email and our colors. Sorry, our logo at the top there, and then our colors. And then down the bottom, you've got all of your contact details, even linked to your socials as well. So that really brings everything all together, makes it look nice and tidy, rather than just a plain email with your signature at the bottom. Because we are just previewing this at the moment, you can see like these dotted lines around it and these sort of bookmarks up the top here. These won't actually be visible when you send out your email, just because we're previewing it. But if you wanted to have something like this in your account so that everything you send out has got your colors and your branding, you can create them from scratch in here in your email themes, or we can make one for you that looks like this, obviously with your colors and your logo instead. So if that's something that you are interested in, please do feel free to reach out to support@homehero.com.au. We can set that up for you and we'll double check to make sure you're happy with the colors and things like that. So once you have got a theme set up, if we exit out of here and go back into our settings, you can set that as your default theme. So under contact info, there's an option here for your default email theme. That means that everything that you send out would use that one, okay? If you just have it set up in here, it doesn't go anywhere, you would actually have to apply it. So under your contact info as a default theme. You might want multiple email themes set up depending on the context. So that one might be your default theme, but you could set up an additional one, for example, for owner contacts. So you might have a different phone number that you provide to them, maybe even a link to their guest portal. Every time you send them an email, you want to remind them, hey, you can do all of this online instead of reaching me. So you could have an additional email theme in there. And then you can attach that theme to your different templates or schedules that you've got set up. So you can pre-build all of that, create a template that's for owner correspondence, attach your theme, and then it will always have that formatting applied. Cool. The next thing you'll need to know about using correspondence in Home Hero is what we call merge fields. Now, these might be called something else in other systems, but hopefully you've seen something similar before. A merge field allows you to pull in the corresponding fields from a reservation rather than having to type everything manually. So I'll open up an existing template that we have just to show you what I mean here. Under correspondence again, and then templates, We can see all of ours that we have already got set up. And I'll jump into, for example, owner booking confirmation. So under here, you have got these sort of fields that do have these curly brackets in them, and then some more detail. So it's got double curly bracket, and then it says area name, double curly bracket. When you send this out, it will pull in the relevant information. I might use a guest one instead. That makes a little bit more sense. Maybe a guest booking confirmation. Here we go. So when you send this out on the reservation, hi, first name, that would be the guest name that fills in there. Your booking is now confirmed at listing name, so it will pull in the right listing for them. You don't have to just have this blank or type it in manually. You can set this up to do that work for you. That lets you really personalize your correspondence that you're sending out and also automate that. Obviously, you can't set up an automation to everyone if it doesn't fill in with the right details for them. So those are merge fields. We have got a long list of pre-made merge fields for you, which you can find. I'm already in the templates, but you can find them here in this icon, which looks like an ID card. If you hover over, it says merge fields. In here, you've got a long list of those that already exist. So you have merge fields like a payment URL, for example. That's a unique link for that reservation that takes the guest directly to make a payment online. So you can use that in your correspondence. When you send it to a guest, it pulls in the link for that guest. Okay. You've also got things like when the balance is due, so the date that the balance is required. Obviously, that's going to be different per reservation, so that will pull in those details there. A really common one would be like your check-in notes for the property. Every property's got different instructions, so using your check-in note merge field allows you to have just one template that you use for all guests, but pull in the correct information that they need for that property. One of my favorite ones in here, which a lot of people don't know about, is the images on the listing. Let me just type that in. So obviously you can type into search. In here, there's some merge fields here that you can insert the images of the listing that the guest is staying at. So if you always have a really nice photo for your first photo on the property, that can be really nice to insert into the booking confirmation or their pre-arrival instructions to get them a little bit excited for their stay. That way, you don't need multiple templates set up, just one, and it pulls in the image from that listing. Cool. So I do really recommend that you come in here and take a look at what merge fields we already have. There might be something in here that sparks an idea. Oh, that's great. I didn't think of how we could put that into our correspondence. Or it might solve a problem that you've been facing that you've just been dealing with when actually we've got a solution for you in your merge fields. If you are searching for one to find that solution and you can't find it, you can actually create a custom field in your property management. So these ones are ones we've already made for you. But if we take a look at your property management section, and then we open up a property here, you've got a tab here called custom fields. So a really common example of this might be the Wi-Fi instructions or Wi-Fi login details for the property. We don't have a built-in field in Homhero where you can put that in. So instead you can create a custom field. You can name it Wi-Fi and then pop the value in here. So the value is what will show on your correspondence when you use this field. So that works exactly the same as a merge field. You would just need to set those up custom per property. It's really important that you do name them all exactly the same. So when you add Wi-Fi to One Hope Island, the property that I'm in here, and then you go through and add it to your next property, 11, oh, let me see if we've actually got one in there. We don't have it in there. If you do add it to another property, you will need to name it exactly the same thing. So it will still be called Wi-Fi, and then the text value will be what you want to display to the guest. So let's then take a look how that appears once we've set one up. So custom field, Wi-Fi here, that's your Wi-Fi details. If we jump back into the template and search for that field there, Wi-Fi, you'll see here that it appears with the rest of your merge fields. It does say in here custom fields.wifi, and you can see that it's under this heading One Hope Island. However, the other properties also have this field set up, and they're also called custom fields.wifi because we've named them all the same when we set them up. So no matter which one you select, it's always going to say custom fields.wifi. And when you send that to a guest, it works the same as a merge field. So it's only going to look at the property that that guest is staying in, and it will pull in the Wi-Fi details from that property. The same as it knows which listing the guest is staying at to fill in that listing name. It knows when their balance is due to pull that in. So it can be confusing that it's got the name of the property up here, but if you set it up with the same name, it will look at the property that the guest is staying at and pull in those details. Okay. So you can use those custom fields to store any information about your property that you'd like to show up in your correspondence. So we'll take a look at this one again for some other examples. You obviously might have other login details like Netflix. If you've got a couple of properties with Netflix details, you could pop them in here. You might want something like the property manager's name. So you could sign off all of your emails for that property, sign it off as property manager, and it will pull in the name of the property manager for that one. You can even have things like your guidebooks, if you've got those set up on your website or externally, set up a field, attach it to each property with the relevant link. Then you can use that custom field in your correspondence and it will pull in the correct link for that guest. So there's a lot of potential there to unlock better automation for you if you do use these effectively. I have seen people use, more than 20 fields on one property just to have all of the details that they've got, log them all in here, and then you can use them in your correspondence whenever you need. Now, these ones here are per property, right? Wi-Fi details are going to be the same. Each guest that stays, they'll get the same Wi-Fi details for this property. You can have other fields that are attached to your booking instead. So the next one here is a booking field. Most common use case for this one would be your bedding configuration. So if you've got a property that offers a split king bed, you can create a field here called bedding configuration. If I open this one up to edit, the type here is going to be a select one field. That means that you've preset some options to select from, and you would select which bedding configuration this guest wants. So you would select that on each reservation. In this case, I have set the default as a king bed. You can maybe see the green tick there. That is your default for this property. But on the reservation, you can actually change it to 2 single beds instead. I'll show you what that looks like when you're creating a booking. So that's how it looks for the setup. If we go to create a booking for One Hope Island, let me choose some dates that are available. Very highly booked at One Hope Island, very popular. I've got all of those restrictions that have come up. But when we are creating a reservation, we have this tab here called Extra Information, and this is where those booking fields will appear. So in this case, I set the default for One Hope Island as 1 king bed. When I'm creating a booking, if the guest tells me that they want 2 single beds instead, I can change this here. Now, this is not available on your website or your OTAs when they're creating a booking, but it will be available once the booking is in Homhero. You can change that answer for them. So what you would do is you would set up the booking field on the property, set up a default, and then you would be able to use that in your correspondence. Okay, so I'll close that down. We don't need to create that booking. But see here, it's got this reference, bedding config. That's the same as we saw in our custom fields, this reference. So that still creates something like a merge field that you can use. You can send it out in your booking confirmation to say, dear guests, we look forward to welcoming you. We have your preferred bedding configuration noted as, and then insert your field. That would be 1 king, for example. And then you can say, please let us know if you'd like that changed. And on your side, when the guest replies, you could then go into that booking and change their preferred bedding configuration. Now, this one is a really good example of when you might want your booking fields to be visible to your cleaners. Obviously, bedding configuration, they're going to be the ones that are making the beds, so you want them to see what the preferred configuration is for that guest. So you would tick that one here as cleaner visible. Another one there, in case you've got really good cleaners and they do extra services for you, you might include a local bottle of wine, and the guest can choose whether they want a red or a white. And you can make that visible for the cleaners as well. Anything about the booking that we don't already have that field, you can create a booking field, make it visible to your cleaners if needed, and then also use that in your correspondence to personalize your messages with your guest. Okay. Now that would appear the same in your correspondence when we were looking at the Wi-Fi field before. Your booking fields will be in the same place. These booking fields, you don't have to use them for your guest correspondence. You can use them also just internally. So, for example, reason for travel, you might want that field on the booking to know why your guest is staying, without really needing to put that into a message to say, hey, we have your reason for travel as blah, blah, blah. So you can use these booking fields other ways. And remember that your correspondence is not just for guests. You can use these in correspondence to your cleaners, owners, contractors. An example that I have seen is if you have got apartments in like a managed complex and you need to provide a license plate to the building manager, you could store a field on the booking, ask the guest what their license plate is, and then use that within a correspondence to notify the building manager. We've got an arrival today, their license plate is this. In the case of a license plate and a reason for travel as well, you'll see that our type is not select from pre-existing options, because you can't note all of the license plate options in here. It's just going to be a text field that you can type that in instead. So creating a guest booking, let's go back to our very popular property. Create here. Yes, I have lots of restrictions on there. Extra information. So in here, you would type in the license plate number or their reason for travel. So a couple of different ways you can use booking fields, whether that's for your correspondence to your guests or to someone else, or just used internally. Cool. I'll close that one down, head back into our templates. We have spent obviously a bit of time in here already with your templates, and they're reasonably self-explanatory once you do understand what those merge fields are and your custom fields and things. So a template is just a saved message that you can use whenever you need. You can send them manually or you can schedule them to go automatically, but if you just set up a template, it's just saved here until you schedule or send it. There's a few other things to look at in these templates. So you might have seen with ours that we've got bold text, we've got like tables down here. So there is more formatting options rather than just typing out a plain text. So you've got up here this three dots menu. I mentioned earlier that you can add listing images, but you can also add your own images as well. Maybe a photo of your office if it's difficult to find and they need to come collect the keys from you. You might want a picture of your office. You can use other formatting like links in here. You have got special characters, horizontal lines, and then further under this three dots menu, so there's two of them, you've got even more formatting for like text size and color and things like that. So there's all of your formatting available. You'll see up the top that we are on the email message tab. Templates can be used for SMS and OTA as well. They just don't support all of that formatting. You can still use your merge fields in SMS and OTA message, just not the formatting. So you would toggle that on, and you can save, you can save a template with an SMS template, an OTA template, and an email message all in one if you like. So that's your templates. I mentioned earlier that you can print templates as well. So especially if you've got a really nice window front in your office, maybe up in Sunshine Coast or something like that, lots of people walking past, you might want a window display for your properties. You can put together everything we've looked at here, all of your formatting and merge fields to get a really nice looking display. So I'll close out of this one and I'll give you an example. We have one here called a full window display. In here, you can see that listing images that I mentioned earlier. And the way that this is all formatted within sort of a grid, you've got things like your listing name, the address, description, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, and all of your contact details and things down here. So templates aren't just for sending out. You can also print these for something like this. Another example might be a key envelope. So if your guests collect the keys directly from you, or maybe in a lockbox that's not at the property, you might already be putting your keys into an envelope, maybe writing their details or manually typing one up, maybe even popping a welcome letter inside. So you can set that up as a template and print it from Homehero instead to save some time. I'll show you another one of those that we've already got set up as well. So envelope, oh, if I can spell it correctly, envelope template. There we go. If we open up this one, here's an example of how that might be laid out. So all of the details that they need on the front of the envelope, and you would be able to print that on arrival. It's most likely that you would be printing that from your dashboard. So I'll show you very quickly how to do that. From your dashboard in the left-hand menu, you have got your arrivals for today. You can select maybe just one that's a late arrival, you need to print an envelope for them, or maybe you do it for all of them, select all of your arrivals, and then you can print from template with this icon here. So we'll go print from template, and then select a template to print. So I've got those envelope templates there. Obviously, if you are printing the envelope template, you will want to change your page size to be an envelope. And you'll want to make sure you've got envelopes in your printer, because even if you change the page size, it'll still come out on whatever paper you've got there. But change your page size. That will automatically untoggle this header. So your header has got like all of your company information in it, which is nice on an A4 piece of paper, takes up too much space on an envelope, so that gets toggled off. Then you can generate and print from there. So if you are already doing your key envelopes, this might save you a bunch of time. Cool. We are about halfway now, so I will try to get to schedules very soon. I know that that's the big one. Before we do that, I want to look at the built-in notifications that we've got in Homehero, because we might already have some that do what you need, so you don't have to create a schedule. Those are in your settings. So under settings, I'll start with cleaners. They are in cleaners and owners, but cleaning settings. You can see in here app notifications. So you've got one here for new bookings, and then you've got a toggle after that if you only want to notify cleaners of new bookings once they're in confirmed status. If you've got that on, you would want it on for all of them, because the next one, dates modified. There's no point, notifying them that a reservation has modified their dates when it's still in unconfirmed status, because they were never notified of that in the first place. So if you're only sending these notifications once the booking's in confirmed status, just make sure to toggle that on for all of them. Cool, so we've got new booking notification, a notification of dates being modified. There's also a notification that a booking has been cancelled. And then the last one is property changes. So this would notify the, if a guest moves from one property to another, you've changed their reservation, it would notify the original cleaner that that booking has been cancelled, their clean has been cancelled. And it would notify the new cleaner that they've got a new booking or a new clean to do. They don't need to see that it came from another property because they don't clean that property. It would only work though if you do have your new bookings and cancelled bookings notifications on. You can't use the property changes on its own. You need to be notifying cleaners of new bookings and cancelled bookings, and then this would also do that. If a reservation moves from one property to another, it would send both of those. Cool. It's super handy that we've got these built in, but there are a few limitations to consider. These are going to send an email and an SMS. You can't set that up as one or the other. You either have this notification on or you don't. Now, obviously, your SMS does cost as well. So if you've got quite a few bookings and quite a few notifications being sent out, that bill might add up quickly. The other thing is that the email and SMS template cannot be edited. You can't change that to say what you need to have in it. It's just a built-in one that we have. And the last thing is that this cannot be set per cleaner. If you have this on, it's on for your entire account. So if you've got one cleaner that says, oh, I don't want the notifications, I just check the portal, you can't have these on because it will send to everyone. So for any of those cases, if that's not suitable, you might want your own scheduled correspondence instead, where you can customize it a bit better. If we take a look at the owner notifications, we've got exactly the same ones in here. So new, modified, cancelled, and property changes. Again, the same limitations apply here. So it's for all owners. The template can't be edited, and it will send both the email and the SMS. If that's not suitable, I wouldn't recommend using this because there's not much editing available. They're just handy to have. If you want to set them up manually instead to customize, we'll do that under your schedules, which I'll jump into now. So under correspondence and then schedules, you probably already have some set up in here. These are your automated messages, okay? So we had templates before. Those don't automatically send out on their own. It's your schedules that are scheduled to send at a certain time. They're triggered by something happening and then it will send out. You might already have quite a few in here. Something I've seen recently across a few accounts is that you might have been with Homhero for quite a while and your schedules have been created and then just new ones have been created and they just keep adding up and you've got no idea what's actually happening in here. Or you might have the opposite, that you set up a while ago, you didn't have many properties, you didn't need much automation, and so you only had 2 or 3 schedules, and now you're kind of filling in with a lot of manual work. So let's look at tidying up your schedules. The first thing I would suggest, first tip I'll give you, is to name your schedules better. So in here, you can see all of these top ones. We have got a number in front of them. That way we can order this column by number, and these are in order of them being sent out, kind of like a flow of the reservation. So the first thing that happens, a booking is made, it's in unconfirmed status, a payment request goes out. That's the first thing in that flow. It's number 1. Then we've got all of these ones that send at the same time. So we've got number 2, 2A, 2B. The guest has paid a deposit. That's a booking confirmation that goes out. We've got a separate one that goes to Airbnb bookings only because we probably don't want the booking total in that one. It's a slightly different template that we want to send at that time. And thirdly, we have got a booking notification that goes to the owner of that property. So if we're not using those built-in notifications that we looked at earlier, we have a schedule set up instead, which is that notification. So those numbers at the front, or if you want to use letters or something else instead to sort of group or organize all of your schedules, that can help a lot to really have clarity on what is being sent out and what order. If you've got a lot, it might be worth going through, figuring out what order they're being sent out and ordering them that way. Cool. I'll open one up and take a look at how that is set up. So we'll have a look at the owner notification, the booking notification to the owner when a guest booking is made. So just double click to open that one up. On the front page here, we have got general settings. So it's got the name and the description. This is where you would edit if you want to add your numbers at the front of the title. So you can add in your name here for your reference, and a bit more of a description if you need a name and a description. Underneath that is copy predefined template. So we set up our templates earlier, and then if we want to pop that into a schedule, if we're setting up a new one, we would be able to copy that there. Oh, I've only got my envelope templates selected earlier, but you would be able to select all of them in there if you've got them set up. Underneath that, we have got our schedule type. So whether we want this to go out via email, SMS, or OTA. Obviously, this is a notification to the owner, so we can't send them an OTA message, but we might have email and SMS. You can have multiple selected here. So if you do want them to get that email and SMS at the same time, just remembering that your SMS does cost, then you would toggle both of them on. If this was guest correspondence, if we were sending out an email and an OTA message to the guest, if you had both of these on, it would send both, okay? If you've got their email address, we would send, and you've got both of these toggled, we would send both of them. So just keep that in mind. It is handy for some schedules. You might want that on, like arrival instructions. Doesn't hurt to make sure that they receive it. But you don't really want to bother them everything being sent twice. So wherever you can send OTA message, I would recommend just having that one on. And if it's for obviously a direct email or a direct booking, sorry, you won't have OTA messaging, so you would just have the email enabled. Cool. After that, we do have who we're sending that to. In this case, it's a notification to the owner, so that's toggled on. Most of your correspondence is probably going to be guest correspondence, so that would be toggled on here. Keeping in mind you can also send these to cleaners and you can also set them to staff. It's called admin here, but if you toggle that on, you would be able to select a staff member that this goes to. So that can be really handy for something like a reminder to a staff member if they look after maybe quite a high-end property and you do meet and greets there. You might want a reminder 1 day before arrival to that staff member. Of that arrival. So you can use these to send to different types of contacts here. Cool. I will skip that one there. It'll make sense after we look at all of the other settings. So if we take a look at the email template next, you can see what is being sent out. Obviously, if you've got SMS or OTA template as well, those will be here beside it. So you can see what's being sent. We can see that template that we were looking at earlier with all of their details. And here's where you would be able to select that theme as well. So if you had a separate email theme that goes out on owner correspondence, you would want to select that here. So it's wrapped nicely with that logo at the top, your contact details at the bottom, and maybe, the relevant contact details for that owner to reach you on rather than your main line or your guest line. Cool. So that is your template. You've got all of those formatting and everything available, all of those merge fields exactly the same. You can set up a schedule from scratch in here. You don't have to copy an existing template, so you could create it, type it all out here. Something that you may not know is that your email subject, you can also use those merge fields here. Okay, they do work in your email subject, not just your email content. So you can personalize that, which might help with the open rate of your correspondence. If you're finding that guests aren't opening your emails, oh, I didn't see that my payment was due. It might be because your subject just says payment due. And to be honest, I don't want to look at those emails either. So you can customize that, to the guest to maybe say something like, Jane, please finalize your booking for luxury villa. That's a little bit more enticing to open up. Oh, yes, I want to make sure my booking's finalized. It's addressed to me. It's got my property name in that title. Might have a bit of a better effect than payment due. So you can put those fields in your email subject there. Again, I'm going to skip a tab. I'm going to skip the schedule tab and come back to it because we'll look at our filters first. Lovely. So we've set up, who this is going to and what it's going to say. In our filters tab, this is where we can decide which bookings sort of trigger that to go out. There's a lot of filters available here. You won't want to set all of them on every schedule. It looks like a lot that you have to think about. We'll just look at the relevant ones for this schedule in this case. So we're wanting this to send as soon as the booking is made. So you can see in here, we just have 0 days after the reservation is created. Same day as booking is made, basically, which is great. Then the only other filter we've got at the moment is our booking sources. We only want this to go to the owner for all of these ones on the left-hand side. We haven't included owner bookings and owner guest bookings. We don't need to notify them of those. You might have it for all of them, but in this case, that's how we have that set up. The other thing, so this is your include side. This is the bookings that were included. As long as it's just been made and it's one of those booking sources, it's going to go out to the owner. On this side is where you can exclude reservations. So quite common would be your imported bookings. If you have joined Home Hero and brought a lot of existing bookings across, you wouldn't want to notify the owner of their 50 new, well, maybe not 50. You wouldn't want to notify the owner of all of their reservations that they've already been notified of in the old system. They've just been made in Home Hero today, but they're not technically new bookings. So you might exclude those reservations there, or even if they were created before a certain date, for example. So this side is include, this side is exclude. That's all that we've got set up for this owner notification. It does fine. This would do the job, but I've got some tips that will make that a little bit better. First, let's look at your schedule tab here. In your schedule tab, this is the maybe one of the most confusing parts, most difficult parts that people get stuck on. It's the biggest mistake that I see in schedules is to have everything set here as we have it, which is every minute. This means that it triggers immediately, basically. As soon as the booking meets all of those filters, then your email or your OTA message is going to go out. That means that it could send at any time of day. So if you're receiving bookings at 4 o'clock in the morning and you've got a schedule that sends an SMS to the owner as soon as a booking is made, they probably won't appreciate a text at 4 o'clock in the morning. So we can adjust this to only send during reasonable hours. Let's pop in the hour field here. We could put between 8 a.m. and it's 24-hour time, so I've got 18 for 6 p.m. It's still set as every minute during that time. So you see a summary at the top that says every minute between 8 a.m. and 6:59 p.m. Perfect. That's much more reasonable, right? It's still going to run every minute during that time. So as soon as a booking is made, during that time, it will go out. But what about our bookings that are made after that time? At the moment, these won't be included. If you get a booking after 7 p.m., it's not going to send out the next day because we have got this set as 0 days after reservation created. So the booking is made during the day, still meets those filters. It's still on the same day as booking being created and it will still send. But if they make a booking after hours, schedule starts again at 8 o'clock in the next morning, but it will miss this one. So instead, we could adjust this to be 1 day within reservation created. Okay, so that means as long as it's still within a day of that booking being made, then this will send out. If it's made during the day, great, we're still checking every minute. It still meets all of those filters. It is within a day of the booking being made, and it is within 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. But if the booking is made after 7 p.m., schedule starts again at 8 o'clock the next morning and it finds this booking. It's still within a day of the booking being made, and now it's within that time, so it will send out during then. Cool. So that's how you can sort of use that schedule tab a little bit better to only send during reasonable times, as long as you match that with your filters, okay? If you are setting a time range here, you want to make sure you're not limiting it too much in here because you might have reservations that get missed. The next thing to consider would be, do we want to send this notification for all new bookings, even if they haven't paid a deposit yet? Or do we only want it to send out once they're in confirmed status? So we can change our status here, reservation status to confirmed. Perfect. It's now only going to send when the booking is being confirmed status. But what if they don't pay their deposit within the same day? What if it's 2 days after booking created? Then they pay their deposit, it goes into confirmed status. Well, we're going to miss that booking again because we've got this limitation here. A reasonable workaround might be to adjust the number of days here. So, well, we always take the deposit within 7 days of the booking being made. Great, that will catch all of them, right? You might still have some that are made outside of that time. You might have a booking that's sitting there longer and you'll forget about this schedule. Why didn't my schedule send? Because it was change to confirmed status more than 7 days after the booking was made. So actually the best way to achieve this one is by using the reservation modified filter instead. So as soon as the booking is modified to confirmed status, then it will send out. So we can change this back to 1 day. It doesn't matter when that reservation was created. 1 day within that booking being modified, it's now in confirmed status. Then we will send the notification to the owner that they've got a new confirmed booking. Now that works because changing from unconfirmed status to confirmed status is a modification. It will also work if a booking starts in confirmed status, like Airbnb or someone that's made a deposit when they've made the booking, because booking creation actually counts as a modification as well. So it doesn't matter how long ago this booking was made, as soon as it's modified into confirmed status, even if that's straight away, it will send a notification to the owner. If that happens after hours, then it will just start again the next morning. It'll send at 8 o'clock the next morning. So that's just one example of how your schedule can be used. Obviously, there's multiple filters in here and multiple ways of setting that up. So I can't cover every single base of how to use these filters, but hopefully that schedule tab has answered a few questions on what that every minute means. One thing I did forget to mention is that every minute doesn't mean that it will send out multiple times, because we have got this filter here that says 1 trigger per reservation. So that just means that the system is checking every minute. This schedule is running and it's looking for anything that's new that meets those filters. So every minute we'll check, is there any reservations that now meet this filter that they didn't meet it the last time I checked? So you can have it every minute. It will just send once as long as you've got that set as 1 trigger per reservation. A couple of other ways you can use this schedule tab in here. Obviously, we looked at the hours and the minutes. Something you might want to use is a certain day. So a bin day reminder. If you ask your guest to put the bins out on the road, you might have this set up to only send out on Sundays, for example. If the booking is in arrived status, you won't need to have that in here. And then if all of your properties all have the same bin day, that's nice and easy. You don't need to limit that by property, but you could then limit by property or maybe even a category of properties. So when you set your properties up, you'll choose that they have a Monday bin collection, and therefore they'll be included in this schedule, a notification that goes out on Sunday afternoon to put the bins out. Again, in this schedule here, even though we have set that as Sunday, we wouldn't want that to go every minute, because it's checking every single minute on a Sunday. The first time that that runs is going to be midnight or 12:01 a.m. You don't want to send your bin reminders at 12 o'clock on a Sunday morning. So you can then put in your hours again. You might want this to send at 3 p.m. If you want it to send, 3:30, for example, you can put in a specific hour, a specific minute, and a specific day. That's when the schedule will be checking, is there any bookings that meet the filters, which is arrived status? And it's one of these properties that we have selected here. So many ways really of using these schedules, and I'm sorry that I don't have the time to go through every single setup possible. I'm going to jump into some questions instead. And then if there's one specific schedule that you are struggling with, or you're not sure how you would set that up, or you have an idea, you really just don't know how to do that, please feel free to reach out afterwards and I'll be happy to take you through that. So let me just open up our questions here. Someone asked a really good question that I forgot to cover right at the start. If you have got an email theme and an email footer, will they double up? No, your email theme does replace your email footer. Apologies. Let's have a look what else we have. Do emails get sent to booking.com emails? Yes, that will send out as an email address. They're kind of like a forwarding email that booking.com provides. So when you send it to that email address, booking.com will then forward that to the guest's direct email. But if you have got OTA messages as well, they would be receiving both. Lovely. Someone did ask about the visible to API checkbox in the custom fields. That would be for other sort of integrations, which I won't cover too much today, but you can reach out if you'd like to know more about that one. If you do have other integrations and those fields, if they allow other fields on the bookings to be sent through, then that would go through that way. Okay. Actually, not too many questions in here, which is nice. There's some that are specific to your account, so I will reach out afterwards. But I'll jump in here and just make sure that you guys know how to contact us. We're hoping to do a few more of these webinars, so if you do have other topics that you'd like me to cover, please feel free to reach out. I'm open to ideas. Next one, sneak peek at what I'm going to be covering for those who have attended today. I'll be looking at your listing features, how to really make sure you've got enough listing features, mapping them up to your OTAs, which can really optimize your performance on there. If you've got guests searching for specific features and you don't have them on your listing, then you're not going to show up. So that will be my next one. But if you have anything else you'd like me to cover, or if you have other questions from today, please feel free to reach me, especially that email theme. I think that will look really lovely on a lot of accounts if you don't already have some formatting there. We do also have our knowledge base articles. I mentioned earlier that we've got those recordings of the unified inbox, if that's something that you'd like to see. Those are on there, as well as some others about correspondence and your schedules on there as well. We do have a status page for any scheduled maintenance or any unscheduled maintenance as well. If you're not already subscribed to that, I would recommend you check that one out so you can be notified. Otherwise, if there is any issue and you try to reach support, you may not get as quick of an answer as you would from our status page. Then we've got all of our contact details on the right-hand side there. So thank you to the person that pointed out last time I had the wrong phone number in here. Our phone number is 1300 246 980, which you can also find in the bottom left corner of Homhero, in case you forget that. I certainly do. So you can find that in Homhero. We do also have a live chat available. If our team are online, it will be us that you're speaking with. Same support team that you know and hopefully love. So you can click on the help icon in Homhero to start a chat there. It will first suggest some articles, depending on what you type. So if you're looking for schedules, you can type that in. It will suggest articles, and then you can click continue to live chat if that didn't answer your question. Lastly, we've got our email addresses there. So general support, you can reach us support@homhero.com.au. We do also have the trust specialists, lovely ladies there that know a lot more about trust accounting than I do. So if it's trust specific, you can reach them on support@hometrust.com.au. If you're not too sure, feel free to send it to the general one and we can pass it on to them. And then we've also got the billing contact as well. Any questions about your Homhero invoice can go to admin@homestar.com.au. Lovely. That is all for today. I will try to get to those questions that I couldn't answer on this webinar because they might be account specific. If you have anything that you think of later on or while you are taking these tips and setting up and then you have questions, feel free to reach me, as well as setting up your email themes, or if you want a copy of any of those templates that I showed today, I'm happy to put those into your account for you. My direct email is there as well. Otherwise, you can always reach our support team. Thank you, everyone, and I hope to see you on the next one. We will send out another invite for that once we've got a date locked in. Okay. Thank you.